Alright guys, it's time to do a gear video. A lot of people that I meet ask me, well, what's your favorite piece of gear? What's your most important piece of gear on any trip? And I can't narrow it down to just one thing, so I've narrowed it down to three. And before a lot of you guys hate on me about carrying all this weight, I take the MSR Whisperlite International. I don't care. I know that it's one of the heavier stoves, but the thing about it is, I've had this stove for 11 years now, and it's never failed. It's got a shaker jet in it. I whip, I pull the stove out and I shake it. You can hear the jet in there. It cleans it out. And people often ask me, well, how resilient are these pumps? They look like they have a lot of moving parts. They look like they'll fail. This pump's the original one that I bought, and the only reason why the top cracked is because somebody else was using it. And the only reason why I replaced this pump was so that I could have a spare. And I do a lot of extended hikes and real deep backcountry, fly fishing trips, and they're usually cold weather. And the last thing you want to do is have a stove that won't perform when it's really cold, or if you're trying to heat up a tent or something. Like, this is kind of, to me, a lot easier than carrying like a pocket rocket, because I've had like pocket rocket canisters. You'll hook the stove up and you'll start boiling, and the canister will freeze real quick and it really won't put out any heat. But this stove right here, the gas, the liquid is not going to freeze. And of course, because of how the line loops through here, it heats it up into a vapor that has pretty much 100% reliability. And I've got my windscreens over here for, like, if I'm on like a wind-blowing summit or something where I just need to really dial in the flame. And so, like this fuel can right here, 22 ounces. This will last me by myself cooking breakfast and dinner for, I don't know, 5 nights and 6 days, and still have some left. You really can't beat it, guys, because those little 4-ounce or 8-ounce MSR canister fuel stoves, I've had those canisters last anywhere from a day and a half to 3 days. Like, they're always so different. So I just stick with what I know. And fuel's obviously a lot cheaper. It's like $11 a gallon, and a gallon lasts me usually a year. Alright, now we're moving on. Next most important item. Right here. It's a Rhino 650T. It looks kind of bulky, and this case is designed so that you can use a battery pack that has AAAs in it, and it also fits the lithium-ion battery that comes with it. And the unit's waterproof, so you don't even have to worry about the case. The case is more or less just like for if you drop it, and so that it's got a convenient clip to go on your belt of your pack. It's such a nice unit. It's all touchscreen, and it's got weather channels on it. And a lot of trips that I go on really don't have the best weather. And I can go in here to the radio and put it on weather channels, and pretty much just be out in the middle of nowhere, and I can figure out if it's going to rain. Sometimes I even scan the radio and pick up other people, and sometimes they'll ask me questions. Oh, well, how far is it to such and such or whatever? And I'm just trying to kind of, use this effectively. I mean, this unit right here is, I don't know, 600 and some change. It's a lot, a lot to invest in a GPS, but if you're going out every couple weeks off the trail, or if you're taking groups and they want to know just how far something is, you can quickly spot it on the GPS and, let them know. And I had the eTrex Vista before this, and the eTrex Vista was a great unit, but it's nothing compared to this quad helix antenna that this one has. I mean, I can literally be anywhere and get service, even indoors. A lot of the times, if I'm within 10 feet of a window, it's pretty much good to go. And with that, this would be one of my most important pieces of equipment. And I think the last most important piece of equipment that I will never forget on the trip is my little primitive medication lineup here. You know, I get this small, you can see how big it is, Aleve bottle, and I pack 4 different medications in it. I've got aspirin because sometimes I'll hike with people that are allergic to ibuprofen or something. A couple aspirin. I've got about 10 of them in there. And then I've got the Aleve, if you get like real sore legs after a hike, it's good to pop one of those for the next day. And then, I always take quite a bit of ibuprofen because these have 200 milligrams of caffeine in each one of them. And sometimes if you're, about to head up a big climb or something like that, you could pop 4 of these, which is kind of a lot, but you get 1,000 milligrams of caffeine, which is a pretty good boost. And last, and what I consider the most important, is these right here. These are melatonins. They're 10 milligram time-released melatonins, and I'll usually take 2 of them. And I try to get a lot of sleep on the trail. I've got friends that just can't seem to get comfortable in a sleeping bag, but they take melatonin and they, report that they didn't wake up all night long, and that's usually what happens to me. It promotes, healthy sleep, and you wake up the next morning and you feel like you haven't even moved the whole night. It's pretty much like, I would almost rather have melatonin than a sleeping pad as far as to have the most comfortable night in the woods. And with that, I give you my 3 most important backpacking items. Thanks.